Welcome back. Today we're in a wildflower meadow. Being somewhere like this is pretty special, and bordered around us, just behind Zach, are oak and elder trees. And for me, elderflower, when this guy starts popping up, that is the start of British summertime. And instead of taking it down the classical route, like an elderflower cordial, I'm going to show you something different that you could do with it, that holds that fragrance, holds that sweetness that the elderflower has, but we're going to encase it in a delicate Japanese tempura batter. Drizzle it with a bit of honey, sprinkle it with a bit of salt. It is so good on a day like today, boiling hot with a cold glass of white wine or a beer. It's delicious. So we're going to start with a batter. So I've made a bit of tempura in my time, but I'm by no means an expert. As I understand it, perfect, light, crispy tempura is all about developing as little gluten as possible. We're going to do that in a few ways. So we're going to start by using plain flour. So it's got lower protein, which means it has lower gluten capabilities, should we call it? Anyway, we're going to go in with about 100 grams of plain flour. I'm using a golden whole grain plain flour, which just gives you that slight malty sweetness. Really, really good with these fragrant elderflowers. Now the second thing we're going to do to limit that gluten development is we're going to use ice cold water. Keep all of this as cold as possible. Gluten loves the warm. That's why you always leave your bread in a warm place to rise. So I'm going to go in, we did about 100 grams of plain flour there. Water, we're going to do just a little bit less, but it's about equal quantities. And we're going to go in with about 90 mils, 100 mils, but you know, we're going to mix it and just see what happens. So all the water is in. I ended up doing a tiny bit more, about 150 mils. And as I said, cold water is going to limit gluten, and the next thing we're doing to limit that gluten development is using these guys, chopsticks. They're not only handy for the mixing, they're going to be your best friend when we come to fry, but in this instance, when we're making a tempura batter, a whisk is your enemy. You do not want to use that because it's just going to build up the gluten. And so that is pretty much our tempura batter done. All I'm going to do is sprinkle of salt. You don't need much because we're going to salt it at the end as well. Put that guy back. Just mix that in. And now that our batter's done, really we're ready to go. I've picked these elderflowers from just behind us, and I've got a mixture of these beautiful white and pink varieties, but just use whatever you can get your hands on. There's over 150 varieties of elderflower, and each of them is said to have a different fragrance and a different flavour. So with the elderflowers, remember, only pick 20% or less of the flowers from the tree, and that's going to ensure that the tree stays healthy and that you get plenty of flowers and plenty of berries the next year. So we got our elderflower. Wash it if you can, make sure there's no flies or dirt or anything like that on it. And I've got a small pan here, just filled with about 4 centimetres of sunflower oil, and it's at about 180 degrees, so hopefully that's going to be perfect for our crispy tempura. What I'm going to do is just set myself up, get a bit of kitchen towel ready to take them out and dry them on, and we're going to start frying. So just fry these in batches, being careful to not overcrowd the pan. I'm doing like 2 or 3 heads at once. And then all you need to do is drain them on some kitchen paper, and then we'll come to plate up. Honestly, it is so fragrant. It's incredible. And the thing that you kind of miss out on when you're making something like elderflower cordial is, you know, everything is steeped. You steep it overnight with all your other ingredients, and I feel like you miss out on it. Adding that heat just brings out the character of the elderflower. It is so, so strong. Anyway, I'm going to plate some up and I'm going to show you what I like to enjoy with it. And yeah, we'll go from there. And that's it. It really is done in about 5 minutes. And my favourite thing about this method is you can use any herbs or flowers that you like and that are edible. So dill flowers, fennel pollen, frying herbs like marjoram and dill and parsley and sage, dipping them in a bit of tempura, sprinkling them with a bit of salt, drizzling them with a tiny bit of honey. It is the ultimate beer snack, honestly, especially on a hot day like this. And you just cannot beat the crunch. Oh. Honestly, with the honey, you're getting that cordial flavour. The elderflower fragrance is insane, but it's just slightly more delicate and incredibly moreish. If you like that, hit the like button, share it with someone who you think might like it as well. And if you want to see us cook outdoors again, comment below and tell us what you want to see us cooking and where you want to see us cooking it. If there's a place outdoors that's special to you, share it with us and we'll go and cook there. We would love to do that. Cooking in special places like this is what it's all about for me. And dishes like that are impressive, fast and great with something cold and delicious. This time of year, it doesn't get better. See you next time.